Good evening. This is Joe with Youngblood Family Farm. I thought I would take a moment this evening and walk you through the chicken house. Um, I had 4 previous videos that kind of showed the process, and I figured I would walk you through the whole chicken house. So come on along, we're gonna take a look at this. So I apologize if this is jumpy in any way, but I'm gonna try to leave the camera on the tripod to keep it steady, and I am going to kind of go side by side, and then we will go inside and take a look. So this is a back side, and I had framed this out to have a 4 foot by 1 foot window going across the back. Um, Still framed out for it, still not sure if I'm going to do it. What I did do, however, is all along this whole eave it is vented soffit to allow that airflow to go through. Um, and I've got it near a 1 foot overhang to make sure that everything stays nice and dry. Um, we used T111 plywood siding. It's 5/8 thick, and I used 1 inch thick rough cut for all the trim. I'd had a bunch of pine wood in the barn for a future project, and this was it. Um, all the soffitting is aluminum, and then we have a steel roof. See if I get the camera up high enough. And we used regular old pole barn style trim on that. Take you over to the west side of the building. That is a 2 foot by 3 foot sliding window. It is set up for a vinyl. It's got a built-in J channel going around the outside. I was able to fit that 1 inch trim in just to kind of cover up the holes and caulking from the window itself. Once again, I have the soffitting going underneath it. It doesn't really vent anything due to the construction of the rafters, but it looks nice and looks uniform. After I painted this and did everything, what I figured out was it probably would have been cheaper for me to just put 1/2 inch plywood up and cover the thing in red sheet metal and been done with it. But I'm happy with the look. We'll move on to the front. In the front, we had planned on a 4 foot wide window, but the price jump from a 4 foot to a 3 foot was pretty dramatic. Underneath that front window, I plan on putting some kind of flower box or something and planting flowers in front and around and beautifying it as time comes. See, underneath, this end is also vented so that the air can just kind of flow through those rafters and keep that coop nice and dry. You can see the detail on the trim, not overly detailed, but with the overhangs, I can't imagine that the siding or the trim will get too wet. Look at the door. I was able to just use the section that was cut out for the door and framed it in. You can see right over here I used a gate style spring. My concern was that my little kids would open the door and the door wouldn't come shut. So it's always, that door is always under tension, and I throw a hasp on it at night just to critter proof it one more step. You can see the above trim. I thought I would go with that style and on all the windows, and then decided not to. But I like the appearance. Still debating on whether I do a crisscross across the center of the door, but that's for future. Continuing on talking about the east side of my building, and this is actually the access to the chicken run itself. I wanted to give a close-up of the locking mechanism, and what the locking mechanism is I basically welded hasp onto some threaded rod, and I slide this in and run the hasp right past everything, and then I'm able to clip that on with a carabiner there at nightfall. Let's go on inside the run and take a look at that now. So this is the run side, and my future plans, actually I have the wood already cut for a sliding door on the other side as well. So this is the other side of the sliding mechanism, and basically that threaded rod pushes right up against this door, and it's caught on the other side because I'm not operating the hasp. But that closes shut, and we can open that up from the outside, and that seems to do a really good job. The window soffitting trim is very identical. I've seen some spots I need to run a little more red paint. I think I have maybe a third a gallon of red paint left, and I will not be storing that. I will just put it on the sides wherever I see it needing. Decided to just go with rocks underneath to keep the chickens from going underneath it. I've got this little entry board for them just sitting on top of a rock, and it seems to be doing pretty well. It is anchored to some treated plate there, and they figured it out. First night I had to throw a few in to teach them how to get back in, and they're self-sufficient as far as entering and exiting now, and we just have to manually shut the door. So now we're inside the chicken house, and little tight. Might have some echoes here, but we'll take a scan. This is an 8x12 inside, and it is studded much like a shed or a home would be. The high side is 8 foot, and it falls down to about 5.5 foot tall. I'm 6'3", and I'm happy to be able to stand up inside the coop. Some things that we talked about already is up above here. This is vented, and this is going to allow good airflow through the house, and keep, moisture is going to rise, and it's going to keep things flowing well. This is just a guard that I made out of hardware cloth. The window will slide, but these will have to be removed when we actually get to the dead of winter, and I've just got them screwed in. I do have a screen on those windows, but this is my second level of keeping any critters out. We've got to keep critters out. My hanging feeder here, I will definitely have to do something about that. They're wasting a lot of feed. Water, I'm not quite sure what my solution is there. This one I think is just, the feeder's just flowing food out too much. Every few days I scoop it up, stick it in a pail with some water, soak it, and put it in the run, and they chew it up good, and that way we're not wasting it. I did go with a couple extra feeder and water here because there's 18 birds in here right now. 12 of them at 10 weeks, and 6 of them are about 6 weeks old. Nest box, pretty simple nest box. They're not using it yet. I will have to put some straw in it in the next few weeks. And they play around, they poop a little bit in there. But that is harnessed to the wall. We've got an anchor there. I plan on doing the same window treatment here. And I've got that window treatment in here. Once again, that ridge is vented as well. And so we have pretty good ventilation in here. The floor seems to be keeping good and dry. I've got quite a bit of straw down, and then put wood chips down with it. And those wood chips really just kind of made us improves the smell a lot. You can see the window framing there, and I'm going to have to put some plywood on because they just perch up there and they poop. You know, anytime they got a area to perch, they're going to perch. Put the camera on the tripod here. I'd like to show you the last little piece of my plan was that the roofs. I wanted to make sure that this coop would be as easy to clean out as possible, and so this roost pivots up, and I'll be able to pivot that all the way up and chain it out of the way whenever it comes time to clean out. And that was done really easily, and just a matter of measuring your boards and using heavy enough fasteners and screws. So thanks for joining my adventure here. We really enjoyed building this project. We wanted to build a chicken house that we could expand into, that would last most of my life, and that we could actually fit into. These little chicken coops, they're cute, but they're not. You can't get in them. You can't actually work in them. So if you have any questions, please ask. If you've enjoyed this chicken coop build, share it, please. I really enjoyed sharing what we do here on our little farm, and yeah, and you guys who subscribe, thanks a lot. So thanks for coming along on this adventure. What's next with the chicken house? I'd like to eventually possibly run electricity across, and that will just get some lighting and keep the water from freezing during winter. But that's about it for this project. And like I said, any questions? I'm all ears. So thanks for your time.